Greetings and welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Nana Gyesie, transformational coach here at Inner Marriage Coaching, where we help folks understand the trauma-informed basis of limiting self-beliefs and how to take inspired action to overcome it. Today we're going to be talking about from narcissistic abuse to present moment power, the empath's ultimate awakening. You see, today what we're going to talk about is the intersection between trauma, transcendence, and truth. This message is not surface level because we're going to a multidimensional perspective where we'll excavate what it means for an empath to rise from the crucible of narcissistic abuse, not simply to heal, but to awaken into the present moment's power. This is a paradigm shift, a movement from survivor identity, which is a phase, to really conscious embodiment as the experiencer, as the experience, and the witness unified. So I want to ground this by saying that in contemporary psychology, for example, empaths are identified as individuals with heightened sensitivity to external, emotional, and energetic stimuli. And this sensitivity is both neurological as well as experiential. And it's because the empath has a nervous system that is deeply attuned to subtle interpersonal dynamics. So Judith Orloff, who wrote this book on empaths, defines the empath as one who feels everything intensely, particularly sometimes to the point of detriment. This is exactly why narcissists target empaths like you and I. And the narcissist thrives on supply, whether it's validation, adulation, or control, while the empath instinctively gives and seeks harmony and also absorbs emotional discord as their own responsibility. Now, it's important that you realize that empaths are ancient souls, what some traditions call star seeds or soul elders. And these are people who carry the archetypes of the wounded healer. Now, this sensitivity of an empath is not merely biological, it's vibrational. And particularly when you look into Kabbalistic mysticism, this sensitivity aligns with what's called the Sephirot of Chesed, or loving kindness, which is an outflow of compassion. And the narcissist, by contrast, operates from the place of power and judgment, or Gebura. That's a distorted self-seeking dominance, not mutuality and reciprocity. Now, narcissistic abuse occurs as a contractual entanglement across timelines. A karmic attractor field where the empath's lessons and latent gifts are catalyzed through profound pain or profound wounding, if you may. So how does the empath realize that they are the experience as well as the experiencer? What do I mean by that? Well, we'll go into philosophy, phenomenology a little bit here, where we're going to quote from Husserl. In Husserl's phenomenology, this epoche, or a bracket of assumptions, reveals that all experiences is co-constituted, meaning there's no object without a subject, and no subject without the object. Heidegger, Georg Heidegger advanced this by asserting this into Dasein, being there, Dasein, meaning that our existence is not separate from the world, but woven into it, Dasein, in German. And in Buddhist philosophy also, this parallels this notion that there is no permanent real self, anatta, in the words of Pali, and paticca samuppada, that everything is dependent on something else, dependent co-arising or dependent origination. In other words, it's said in the Buddhist text, the Pali Canon, that when this is, that is. When this ceases, that ceases. And that's in the Samyutta Nikaya. As a result, when the empath reaches this realization, the empath ceases perceiving themselves as a separate entity navigating a hostile world. And the empath recognizes that the awareness itself is what is arising as experience. This is also well documented in Hermetic philosophy, particularly in the Emerald Tablets of Hermes Trismegistus, where Hermes asserted that that which is below corresponds to that which is above, and that which is above also corresponds to that which is below. As above, so below. In this way, the empath discovers that the empath is every field within which the narcissistic abuse played out. That the empath is both the observer and the observed, as the great Jiddu Krishnamurti would always say. Now, let's analyze the present moment as a point of liberation, because everything happens in the now. And even in my personal practice, I value being present and doing everything moment by moment with mindfulness, because that's how one becomes incredibly effective by finishing what you start through mindfulness. So there are very few unfinished things, therefore there is very limited energy leakage. Now, in polyvagal theory by Stephen Porges, this provides a sort of a scaffolding for this insight of the present moment. The vagus nerve, particularly its ventral branch, modulates our capacity for social engagement, presence, and self-regulation, right? Narcissistic abuse hijacks the system, flooding the empath with vagal shutdown, which is dissociation, or even this need to fight or flight. Whereas present moment awareness, which is mindfulness, restores your vagal tone, bringing the empath into embodied sovereignty in the now. Similarly, when you look at this from the Taoist perspective, it's often said in the Tao, or Tao, be like a mountain and flow like a great river. It's also said in non-dualistic thinking that the self is not in time, time is in the self. You see the interrelation here there? This means that the empath's power is reclaimed not through narrative control or revenge, although that's very tempting, but it's through absolute presence unconditioned by past or future projections. And then when you look at this energetically, the empath untethers from the narcissist's energetic cords, because these are cords that feed on emotional reactivity and anchors into their own inner current, which is timeless and untouchable. So you realize that the whole point is to become one-pointed, right? And if any of this is resonating with you, type transform in the comment section, or you can book a free session with me at my website, innermileage.com. So in the Visuddhimagga, one-pointedness, ekagata, is described as a combination of shamatha, or sort of this mindfulness practice, which leads to deep focus, samadhi, jhanas. And this level of concentration obliterates the illusion of separation between the observer and the observed. So when you think about it from a quantum physics perspective, it introduces the observer effect, that particles exist in probabilistic superposition until observed. It means everything is just latent potential. So how do you know your car exists? You have to see it. In the same way, the empath's one-pointed mind collapses probability into certainty, right? And this is not from a position of control, but it's from a position of conscious participation in reality's unfolding. In the same way, mentalism teaches us that the all is mind. The empath's awakening is not passive. It's a recognition that the mental state of the empath configures itself into reality itself. So as we wind down here, it's important to realize that abuse operates like a spell. And the work by Dispenza and others on neuroplasticity shows that repeated emotional trauma rewires your neural pathways, entrapping individuals in feedback loops of suffering. So the empath is the light agent, where the narcissist is the dark agent, casting loops of doubt, right? And this is why Bessel van der Kolk's work says trauma imprints itself on the architecture of the brain. Therefore, recovery must happen at both the cognitive and somatic levels. So I want to say this, your suffering was never meaningless, it was alchemical. The narcissists play their role perfectly, not to destroy you, but to shatter the illusion that you were ever separate, small, or powerless. So I want to invite you today to awaken as both the experiencer and the experience. and coming into flow with this divine perspective. And if you're ready, comment, transform the comment section below, and know that there's no one like you. Keep ascending, keep rising, and keep shining your light. Peace.